Yeah, you said a lot of really good things there too, but the affordability crisis is not equally experienced, right? So we're actually living in at least two different Americas. Um, the and there's a striking difference. Like I heard on the news yesterday that I say kids, and I don't say that disrespectfully. I'm getting to be an old guy, so I can say kids now affectionately, right? But young people are struggling. They're making six figures, over $100,000 a year, but still feel like they can't buy a house. They can't do like normal, typical adult things, living that American dream. That again, Charlie Kirk talked about: get married and have more kids than you can afford. Uh, more kids than they can afford right now is zero. They can't even afford to be married, right? And have a home and that sort of thing. So you've got that on the one hand. And then on the other hand, I was listening to some ridiculous story yesterday about some lady who just spent $100,000 renovating her basement into a Lego lair. Like taking down walls and making space for this huge Lego layout. She's a grown woman, but she loves Legos. Um, and so vast difference, right? On here, you've got a lady spending some people's full year salary to build a Lego PlayStation, in her basement. And over here, you've got a young person who's having to finance a pizza into 4 payments. And so, like, these two worlds it's like oil and water. Like, they don't even understand each other. So it's difficult to have a conversation about national policy and economics when you literally live in two different worlds. And that's one reason why, the promises of socialism and communism work so well, is because it's very easy to get the person who's financing his pizza to hate the person who's renovating their basement to turn it into a Lego playground. Um, and that's difficult. That's a difficult pill.
Yeah, it is. Um, and I guess the last ingredient that we didn't bring up is as far as trying to communicate with people is that social media is put us in silos, and even formerly mainstream media, even New York Times, things like that, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, are now almost all their articles are pay to view. Who's going to pay for a subscription to a paper unless you already ideologically agree with that paper? So it shuts out people from other perspectives to read it. So the articles could cater to the audience that now is paying for that paper, which so it gets more and more polarized. In my opinion, that's what's happening. But definitely social media. We get in our bubbles, and we all have to fight that. I think I try to read and watch the other side as much as I can to understand where the other perspective is coming from. But you don't even know what's in the other bubble. You don't even know what's being said in the other bubble. Um, and the people on the left don't know what's being said in our bubble, our bubble, because like there's a wall there that again is driven by social media clicks and advertisements and that kind of stuff. So it's a really big dilemma. Um, and the only way I can think of right now to combat that is to try to appeal across, a little bit broader audiences, um, and to engage people in public, which can be very frightening. Just from an anxiety level of not being confident in arguing positions. But even if you get good at it, now people are, because of what happened to Charlie Kirk, are concerned about their safety and things like that. So I don't have I don't know whether to be optimistic or not. Obviously, in the long term, I know God's in control, and that could be a good segue to our next topic. But God's ultimately in control of what's going on, and we could continue to go down what I see right now as a negative path. But you look at massive things that happen both in good ways and bad ways. Like just think about whether you're for Trump or not, just the fact that he overcame um, all I, for one, did not believe 2 years ago that he had a chance in the world of getting reelected. But he did. Was that God? I don't know. Like, the assassination attempt, just, basically hitting his ear could have hit him in the head and killed him. Crazy, unexpected, unanticipated things can happen. Zoran Mandami getting elected by the amount he did, unforeseeable to me less than a year ago, even 6 months ago. So, God's hand is in everything in some way, shape, or form, and unforeseen things can happen, both good and bad. So we really cannot predict the future. But the indications right now that I'm seeing are very concerning, and I don't see a clear path out of it.